Everyone who has played Bannerlord knows about the power of archers, but Shokuho adds early firearms. These unique units require a new understanding of the combat system, and in this episode, we'll get you up to speed with the strengths and weaknesses of these modern inventions, and show you how tactics can be used to devastate your enemy on the battlefield and leave your foe rotting in the mud. Enemy sorted out here with the same tier 3 through 6 units, although I don't see any tier 6 infantry. They look like they have a little bit lower units, and that's a thing that happens across some of the different cultures. They have lower level units, and presumably they have more of them in battle, so we'll probably have to do that for these custom battles. Welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and we are dedicated to Shokuho, this amazing Japanese era, feudal Japanese era mod, and we are going to play as the monks today. This is kind of a cool kingdom. They look like religious devotees. Not quite certain what religion was predominant in the times of Japan. Maybe Confucius, something to that effect. Anyways, we're going to do some battles here with their gunners. We're still doing gun tactics in this campaign. We're learning more about their capacity, and I'm going to play a gunner in this battle. It's kind of a new thing for me. We'll see how the mechanics work. I'll talk a little bit about it, and we will learn on the fly, right? You guys are learning with me as we try to apply tactics that work in Bannerlord to tactics in Shokuho. They may not work, and of course I may look like an asshole. We don't win all these battles, but hopefully you guys learn some stuff along the way, some of the tactics that we can apply here, and maybe I will learn stuff along the way. Sometimes we even fight a battle over if we lose. Now this first battle here, we're just going to get a feel for the gunner here. The sergeant is in control, aka the dumpster fire. We're going to observe here, and we're going to do a lot of RTS mod just to speed it through. We are using the battle size mod, so you can see we have more than 200 enemies than allies here, and all of the units are on the battlefield at the same time. It makes for some picturesque epic battles. The shootout at the OK Corral is what this feels like. We got a gun. I got a crosshairs. This is, you know, and not an archery crosshair. I can shoot guys a long ways away, I think. So let's see how this works, right? I've got just a little bit of experience doing this, but not enough to really know what I'm doing. Oh, we killed his horse. Now maybe we can kill the guy after we've killed his horse. Now, I'm not barfing in the tree here. That is the reloading animation, and it takes a long time. I was timing it once when I tried last week, and I think it took almost 20 seconds to reload. I think every weapon is different. That's the guy who lost his horse. Somehow I missed with that shot. But you really have to consider, oh shit, like that, right? You are highly vulnerable. Unless you're on a horse, you cannot move while you're reloading. Or maybe you get a perk point at some I don't know all the perk levels. Perhaps with some perk skill you can actually move, and this is a problem. I've got guys coming up here trying to kill me and shit while I'm trying to reload. You fucker. Let's see if I reloaded. Oh, I did. I'll pay you back, motherfucker. Just gunned him down. But this is, you know, this is wholly new to me, and it's quite an adventure. Now our AI here is doing some random shit. They seem in a gigantic chaotic glob here. We're going to try to sit behind this very sturdy bamboo weaved fence here. I'm sure that blocks bullets, right? Our enemy has arrows and bullets, and actually so do we. And you'll see that is common across a lot of the different kingdoms. It's really interesting, the amalgamation. Now they're very different, right? Your bullets are lethal, right? Every guy I've shot so far insta dies. I've shot a guy in the leg once and it did like 300 damage. But you shoot really slow, right? I'm sitting here reloading. It looks like I'm barfing because I drank too much or something like that. And you can't miss there, right? There's just a ton of samurai all jammed in there. And this is a gnarly battle. There's like alley fighting and shit. The enemy's kind of skirmishing at the edge of battle here. And I am going to speed it up here and there just because this episode doesn't need to be 2 hours. We'll probably have a half hour, 20 minutes of tactics here. I want to experiment with these monks, though. What are these guys capable of in the open field? What are they capable of in a village setting like this, right? Now, the AI is not committed to good tactics here. It's dog shit bad. And this is not the fault of the mod makers, right? These guys are doing their best. The AI in Bannerlord is probably the singular most thing that needs to improve, right? Whether it's the diplomacy system or simply combat tactics, because this really does resemble a mosh pit at a Japanese rock festival. It's chaos, and I observe a huge flush of red on the death spam here. So it's bad chaos too, right? We're being mown down. Horses are in here. And I discovered that last episode. The monks do not have, they don't have any heavy cavalry. They only have gunners. They have horse archers. I guess they don't even have gunners. They have horse archers as we stand on the fish here and reload. But they don't have any heavy cavalry with like a spear and stuff like that. Now hurry up, man, this is agonizing. We're getting bum rushed here and I'm taking forever to reload. There's samurai coming up here and I'm fucked. I'm surrounded. Get a shot off at least, kill somebody, and well, it doesn't really mean anything, but this first battle was a debacle. Our AI here got obliterated, you know, pause necessary with the obliterated, because we had a 1 to 2 kill ratio with an army I think should be able to do okay here. I don't know if we can win this, right? We're outnumbered by 200. Maybe I made it too hard here from the get-go. But we'll try, right? We're certainly up for a challenge. We've got these gunners, right? So we're going to use range. We're going to use infantry squares. We're going to use cover. And we're certainly not going to hide in a giant amoeba pile of barf like the AI did there, right? Let's get tactical. Let's use our brains here. And this is by far the most stimulating part of Bannerlord to me. It's like a great puzzle, and every single battle can be a little different, especially with guns. So they shoot a long ways, so I want guns in the middle, but I also want a horse archer division to dismount early on. You really can't use horse archers very well in a village because there's so many things they run into. They can't circle terrifically. You might be able to micromanage them if you were on horse, but you either engage with them or you do what I do, right? You pre-position and get them off their horse. They're more accurate off their horse, but they also then, the horses block the enemy, right? They can't shoot through the horses. And of course, their cavalry run into them. So I'm going to run, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Let's do 4 archer divisions, including a very powerful 4th division. This will be our anchor division, the 4th and 5th, actually. And then the 6th and 7th are actually, I think they'll be archer divisions. And we can put them on this right side where there's some cover, right? We got rocks over here. I don't think the enemy can get through there very easily. Now, I'm going to do infantry squares, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, and then, like I said, that horse archer division probably on our left. We will try to buttress that left side. The enemy force seems to be mostly infantry, but they have some archers. I can't remember exactly, and look at that. That's pretty, right? That's going to be great enfilade protection for our gunners. In fact, we can put another little division of assassins in the forest there. I can't move here yet until the battle starts. What I'm probably going to do here is give you a little overhead in some of these battles. I'm not going to fight these using the RTS mod. I want the feel of what it's like as a gunner. And if you're learning, or if you're just entertained by it, I want you to understand what it feels like being a gunner in feudal Japan, right? I play these with a higher level of intensity, I think, than most people. This means nothing, right? It's a game. The whole thing means nothing, but I get into it. The graphics are good. Guys are yelling and screaming, and I'm a passionate person. You know, that's sort of my forte. All right, so a small square on the right here, and I'm going to start. I don't know if these fish nets block the enemy. They certainly block their movement, but they might even block ammo, which is just a part of the game, right? You can throw a javelin into a fish net and it sticks there like a piece of wood. Now, these archers I want way down there. That way, and you want them too deep, right? That was something we discovered last episode. Too deep is optimal. That way nobody gets in anybody's way. The front row kneels, and then that second row stands up, and you get a huge amount of firepower condensed into a small spot. Archers a little closer. Let's jam these squares against these little fish nets. Those fish nets will protect you there, fellas. Trust me, it's a video game. And the enemy's actually skewing towards our left here, right? So when that happens, shift your plan. I'm going to start pushing these cav further, and we're going to shield wall them, and I'll give you an overhead of what we're doing here, right? These guys are coming up. They're not shield walling. They don't have shields. I'm doing that so the horses are packed tightly together so that when the enemy cavalry hits it, they stop dead, right? They can't get through it. It's basically a giant fence of horse meat. Now I'm going to shift all of these squares over because of where the enemy is. I'm not going to use this a lot during this episode, but enough so that you can see what we're doing. We're positioning these squares behind these rocks because we want the enemy infantry to attack them and to be distracted by them, but we don't want them shot to pieces. Remember, squares have no shields, and they will be destroyed by archers and gunners. I think the enemy has a good mix of both. So, it's nice here, I can kind of reload, although maybe I should have got a little closer. I can just observe the action here while my guy barfs on the sand. And I got motherfucking horse archers shooting me. In fact, I got shot already. Fucker. Teach him a good lesson. I'm good at killing horses. We've discovered that. Who knows how the rest of my aim is going to be. It'll probably get better the more I play. This is, like I said, it's brand new to me. So we've got a square here holding the center, and it's nice because they can kind of protect me. I'm not getting shot. And eventually the enemy's going to infantry zerg this. We're going to drag it left and right. And the reason you do that is, first, it's harder to shoot if it's moving, but it's also going to drag the enemy behind it, and that's going to make them fish in a barrel for our shooters here, right? All these gunners, it'll be hard to miss because there's going to be just a whole bunch of infantry surrounding and chasing these squares. In fact, we can just shove them all in that direction, and it basically creates a shooting gallery for our gunners. Look at this shit. You can't miss. They're surrounded by yellow. I mean, now I'll probably miss now that I've said that, but oh shit, or I get killed. Look at, he crumpled right there. And this guy has no arrows. Well, that's a bummer. I was hoping to shoot more of that episode, but, you know, you can get one shot in this game. It's nasty, but it's working here. Actually, here's a good way to do it. Now I got a gunner. We just used the RTS mod. Oh, she's kneeling and loading. Isn't that sweet? And I think you just crouch and reload. Some of them can even shoot while they're kneeling, which is pretty sick. You're a small target. The general gist, I feel, is that guns are, I don't want to say overpowered because people will say it's historically accurate, but they're extraordinarily powerful. I think armies full of guns are going to decimate the enemy. Now, they have only archers left. I think this battle's over. Right? In fact, I just looked at the power bar. It's not over. It's not a little over. We destroyed this enemy force. So the glob AI, you leave the sergeant in charge. I know I've made this argument 9,000 times. You guys are sick of it. But the bottom line here is, man, tactics with these guns. What a result, right? It's a massacre. We've got half our force left. In a situation where the AI, it was precisely the opposite, right? When you put the AI in charge, the enemy had half their force. So a 2-to-1 kill ratio, even outnumbered. I was wondering, right? I was like, how is the AI losing this? Well, because it's artificial imbecility, right? So let's look for a couple maps. I have scouted a few maps that might be interesting. Let's try this Farm D. They have these names, of course. You could really say that Shokuho is in beta still. These guys are still polishing it. These guys are working for free largely, right? And as far as I understand, they won't accept donations. Now that's not the right farm. Sorry, I wrote these down, but I don't have the sheet in front of me. I think it's either C or D. It's got like a huge farm area. I think this is it. Here we go. Yeah. So this is going to be deadly. I think we can win this battle, but let's go ahead and see again. And trust me, we won't spend every single battle 10 minutes with the sergeant, but let's just illustrate again. We just waxed the enemy, and I just don't think the AI has any understanding of how to use guns in Shokuho. Now, you know, I talked to one of the guys that's part of the development team, and he basically said it's hardwired, right? Or I didn't talk to him, we exchanged messages, and he says it's hardwired into the game, and I understand that, but the AI does this in Bannerlord too. It's not Shokuho that's doing this. This is how the AI behaves in vanilla Bannerlord. And again, if there's a single developer who happens to watch this, you know, someone who's on the Tail Worlds team, I think it should be way up your fellas' lists, and maybe it is. Maybe they're developing this for 1.3. Maybe that's why it's delayed, because it is difficult to change artificial intelligence for a video game, right? But it badly needs to be altered because it really, it sours what could be an amazing experience, right? If the AI fought, I don't even want to say like a human player, just fought competently, did a little kiting, did a little squaring once in a while, their infantry, right? Did a little bit of just positioning, right? The infantry and archers were just mixed in a glob there, and I didn't even need to tell you the results, right? We knew the results before the battle started. It was going to be a disaster. Now let's do some very basic tactics here. I don't think this army is strong enough to win with very basic tactics. We'll see. We're outnumbered by 250 units. But I think we can win this with some intelligent tactics. And of course, you are watching Tactical Enlightenment. So we'll say we can win this with some enlightened tactics. I just love that period, by the way, the Enlightenment. Man, if you're into history at all and you haven't explored the Enlightenment, you're in for a treat. It's a time of chaos, but it's also a time of the forming of what I consider modern, I was going to say socialism, not socialism, but society, right? Where we get to vote, where we have some kind of control and ability to complain when dipshits are in charge. Yeah, so see, basic tactics are not working. We're going to have to use these fishing, these little fishing, whatever you call these, fishing, fishing marshes or something like that. I'm highly ignorant to this kind of farming, and still half the enemy forces left. So maybe it's an uphill battle, right? We are outnumbered severely, but it is a bit of a peekaboo ridge. We'll see how much it is up close, and I like the fact that it's marsh. Units tend to move a little bit slower anytime there's water. Maybe it's just my imagination, but we'll see how this goes. Now, there's a layer effect up here, right? There's a secondary ridge, which is amazing for ammunition units, right? Because you can, you have, I say it all the time, you have theater seating, theater shooting for your units here, right? We're going to shoot as many people as we can from this elevated platform up here. And just like that guy down in Texas, we've just got a bird's eye view of everything. Now I'm going to get creative again with our 3 small infantry divisions and our horse archers. Obviously, anytime you have an army that's 60-70% gunners, everything revolves around those guys, right? The rest of the divisions become purely auxiliary. We're going to have 2 different infantry divisions on the wing, and I'll probably put one in the center in a square that, just like the previous battle, we will wave back and forth on front of the enemy. Now the 7th, let's see, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. I'd like to have an elite unit of gunners right here, the 4th division, in a big long line. Those are our best guys, and you want them as close as you can to the top of that ridge without being obviously attacked. In other words, you want them to be able to get off at least 1 round, hopefully 2, before the enemy closes, and more, of course, if you can distract them, which is what we're planning on doing here. We're going to put some infantry on both wings here, and then the other units, the weaker archers, behind, right? These are really weak archers. They're here to protect the gunners. If infantrymen reach the gunners, hopefully these archers can help, mow down those guys attacking them. The horse archer division will just park in the rear here until I figure out what the enemy's doing. I've got a square here again, and look at this edge. You see that? You can't see the enemy at all, and all of a sudden, now we see yellow. That's a peekaboo ridge, right? That is what we talk about on the channel all the time. Basically, if you can't see the enemy, they can't see you, right? Unless you're 12 foot tall. Obviously, our head doesn't stick above that. So we're going to move our gunners here a little bit closer. That means that they can move even closer without being shot. And when the enemy comes up, they're just going to face torrential fire. Now, I'm going to change what I was going to do before. I'm going to put 2 infantry divisions on the right and a horse archer division on the left. We will dismount them again. I find it to be excellent protection from heavy cavalry, and maybe the game designers don't want it to be like that. Maybe that wasn't their intention, but that's what we're going to do, right? This is how the game mechanics work, right? You play with what you got. So they're kind of lollygagging their way there. And again, you get a little bit of the overhead perspective. You dismount those guys, and we'll just put them back here towards the rear. So now we have 5 archer divisions. It's pretty sick. 2, 3. This 3rd and 1st I'm putting over here to try to intercept enemy cavalry, right? We want these guys spear bracing with those pikes. There's swordsmen nearby them. That should at least slow down that cavalry charge. Now the enemy's coming here. We want them to eat this square, right? So send it towards the enemy infantry. Don't send it over the ridge because they'll get shot to pieces The enemy gunners are right over the edge of that ridge, but right now you can't see them, right? And so that means they can't see us. They can't shoot us. Now I can just barely maybe shoot the guys here on the left. Might have hit the dirt there. And perfect. Look at, they came right over into a huge volley, and the green on the right of the screen just spammed to the bottom. Now they are pretty close to our gunners here, but man, are they taking a shellacking, right? These guys are supposed to help me reload. Charge, boys. I'm getting caught up here. You're so helpless when you're reloading. My guy's like a bitch. He's like, I'm reloaded though, boss. Now what? I mean, we can do a little fighting here. I can whip out my gun and shoot. That first can charge, third could charge. It's messy, but man, is it foaming green death spam. It's insane how powerful these gunners are, right? They just fucking... you one-shot everything. Oh shit, I got shot. 306 to the head. So some gunner is like, yeah, it's powerful. Right to your head, dude. And get charged with that first, third, and even the horse archers can push forward and charge. I've got a new gunner here. She kneels again to shoot. Look at our squares diligently holding out. There's like 6 guys back to back. And I think the enemy's already cooked. So many of them died there in like 30 seconds that it takes you off guard. Like, that was astonishing. Again, it's the same battle that we just got obliterated using standard tactics, and you turn completely around. I mean, look at that shit. That is a 6-to-1 kill ratio in a battle we lost with standard tactics. Yeah, these guys just scream, please do tactics with me and conquer the world. In a way, it's worrisome because, you know, part of me wants to just make a gunner army, but then I also realize you add some perks, you add some captains, you add some elite cavalry and infantry here, and you don't just conquer the world. You might take over Russia, right? You could help Ukraine and just start dominating. It would be a problem. It might be so powerful that it would literally, you know, kill all the joy in the game. So, you know, I'm aware of that. Sometimes on the channel we make the game too easy for people. You know, I guess watch at your own risk, right? Or do what you got to do to make the game harder. We, of course, recommend a variety of different mods. Okay, so interesting battlefield here. Again, we're just going to run around with the sergeant, and holy lush, the fucking bushes everywhere. This is like Hawaii or something like that. Or, you know, just pre-industrialization. There's incredibly deep and beautiful forest everywhere I look. It seems like the graphics are pretty smooth, but it definitely stresses my system. And I have a, you know, a pretty nice system. I have an RTX, what are they, 4060 or 4080 or something like that. I have a good graphics card. And this is just an insane amount of pixels, right? There's trees everywhere, there's bushes, there's all the smoke vapor. It's quite an impressive graphics display here. And of course, we're running at 4K. Now guys are getting ripped off their horses left and right, and they're coming up one at a time here. The animation is great when they get shot. They just absolutely ragdoll and hit the dirt. It's probably what would happen. Those old-fashioned muskets were not accurate, but man, did they pack a wallop, right? These things were a lot of fucking horsepower. I got a little ridge here. I'm pretty vulnerable, but I want to be able to see what the enemy's doing. And of course, part of this is just to sort of see what the sergeant does, right? We're going to take over the reins here. I'm almost certain the sergeant can't win in this situation. And I'm also still exploring the whole gun thing. So you guys, hopefully you don't mind here while we shoot a few more of these guys. I don't think they can get up here. There are some parts of some maps, and I spoke to one of the guys that helps make, either helps or actually makes the actual maps for Shokuho. We observed in one of our episodes recently that there's a spot where the enemy could not get me, right? They were infantrymen just sort of staring at me 5 feet away, and he said that's stuff they're working on. So it's wonderful to hear from the guys that are working on the mod that they're still actively doing it, and you can tell, just like my YouTube channel here, it's a labor of love. I make something like $1 an hour with the amount of time I put into this channel. It is highly unprofitable, but it's fun, right? I enjoy this shit. I love talking tactics. I love the community, and it's a joy for me just to play video games and have a following, and maybe someday make a little bit more than $1 an hour. Right? That's kind of the hope. Of course, you can always join the Patreon, right? We have a Patreon site where guys contribute a couple bucks a month, and you get all kinds of exclusive content and videos that aren't on our YouTube channel. Every once in a while, put a little pump out there, right? You guys don't mind a little advertising. Speaking of advertising here, as we mow these guys down, I have been speaking with a few sponsors, and there's a couple that I might sort of interweave into episodes, but I'm highly adverse, highly disinterested in having like a commercial style, especially at the beginning of some of our cutscene episodes and stuff like that. So hopefully you fellas understand that we won't be selling out. This guy gets ragdolled. We won't be selling out to Kraft macaroni and cheese at the beginning of an episode and stuff like that. That's not how I roll. I don't like ads to begin with, and so I'm certainly not going to subject you guys to that kind of stuff. I mean, unless they pay me lots of money, I guess, for $10,000 for a 1 minute sponsor. Anybody's interested, right? And then my wife and I will give a lot to charity because we do not care to be rich. I know that's a strange statement, but my wife and I, we want to have money, but we don't want to be rich because we're aware of some of the negative effects that money has. And more importantly, there's just a lot of people, animals, forests that are in need in the world. And it's hard for us to ever imagine being rich where we didn't end up really helping and giving away a lot of our money. All right, that little quip aside, I'm gonna try a killbox here, but man, is it difficult terrain to navigate. This is going to be hard, and of course I've got to steal a horse because I'm a gunner. I don't even know if this guy can get on the horse, but if I can't get on a horse, this is going to fail miserably. There is a bit of a pocket in the center of this valley and sloping hills on both sides. Now I increased the enemy total to 1,000. So we've made this unbelievably hard, but based on some of the results we've had, you know, I think we got a shot. Now, of course, the AI there while I was shooting and rambling about nonsense got mangled. We knew that was going to happen. And I probably won't do too many more of those, right? At this stage, it's kind of painful to watch the AI. You guys is probably even worse. We probably won't do that a whole lot. So give me your horse there, lady. A little carjacking here. Get off. Good. I can get on. Tell them to get right back on. And now we got a race because the enemy was 400, 300, under 300. We're in trouble here. We got to get these units up in a hurry. The 5th in the center. The 6th will, and the 7th, we're going to have to stick on the right here. I'm going to try to help them a little bit with the Horse Archer Division at the top of that hill. And the enemy's closing fast. There's like ominous music playing here. We're probably fucked. But I'm still going to commit to this. It doesn't mean anything. And we'll see. If we can get these units in place, we're going to bring squares up to try to attract the attention from the enemy infantry. We'll split them off into all 3 locations. The 5th is going to be key, right? It's a very powerful division at the back. That's going to be the primary gunners. And the reason I'm doing that, of course, is that they're the furthest from the enemy. Now, they already have fucking horse archers in here, you fuckers. Shoot your horse from you. Now, this guy's reloading on a horse, which would take unbelievable dexterity, right? You're basically holding on for dear life with your I want to see your thighs, whatever those things are when you do the weightlifting thing where you squeeze your hips together or thighs together, whatever the fuck. Hey, you can't get away, dude. It's pretty sick riding a horse with a gun. This might be my choice for an epic campaign. I mean, you're highly mobile, right? That's the biggest danger of being a gunner, is you're not mobile. Well, this changes that completely. I'm completely mobile, and I can command my army while this guy reloads. Jackpot. So we've got squares basically waved in front of the enemy right here, and that's why their infantry doesn't know what the fuck to do, right? They want to charge, but there's infantry squares just kind of crisscrossing left and right like a magic trick, and they're really confounded. Meanwhile, our archers are working pretty well. Now, they do have a nasty cavalry charge on our right flank, and a bunch of death spam is probably going to ensue. It looks like some infantry's in there as well. The 4th is in pretty good shape over there, although I see cavalry in there as well. Eat this, you fuckers. You just ride up and shoot them in the back. Man, it's savage. Now we want a machine gun. Someone's probably working on that mod. I do have a friend, a Bannerlord friend here, a guy who helps with mods and stuff like that, who has been added to the Dune modding team. So those of you who are interested in a Dune mod, and I'm certainly amongst those, that is very, very interesting to me. Dune, you know, Dune is a futuristic game, so there's probably going to be some level of guns, but anybody who's seen Dune knows you also have shields and whatnot, and so it's not your traditional you know, Star Wars, where they hardly have any weapons here. Get 1 or 2 last kills here before this battle falls apart. The 5th and 4th are doing okay, but we're being trucked hard on our right flank. I saw that happening right away. They had infantry and cavalry boring in, and your gunners are just going to melt under that kind of attack. We'll see though. Maybe, just maybe, if we can hold the top of this hill here. We do have 2 archer divisions spraying down into the enemy ranks. Just maybe. Well, load that gun. Yeah, it's painful. When your units are dying, it takes forever. You're just watching your units get fizzed. This is probably a situation you're better off just getting on foot. I can finally shoot after all my troops are dead, avenge them a little tiny bit, and this battle is probably over. But you know what? I'm going to fight this battle over again. I realize that there's probably no way any of you could have seen, unless you understand a kill box very fluently, there's probably no way you could see what the hell I was doing there at the beginning. So let's go ahead and slow down the intro to this. We'll fight this battle again, the exact same settings here. I'm tempted to give us a few more troops because it seems like there's no way we can win this, but let's go ahead and try it on hardest mode. A kill box gives us a shot, right? It's a savage tactic, and gunners are pretty well suited for this, right? They're gonna have at least an initial nasty volley, and then it's a matter of buying them time. But I think it has a chance of working. And I think it'll be interesting for you guys, or not just interesting, but educational for you guys to see the overhead view of a kill box here, right? We don't have horse archers. Well, I do, but I'm not going to use them in that manner. I think they would get smoked by the enemy guns. But let's fight all the same circumstances here, and we're going to cheat just a little bit. I'm going to slow down the beginning here, mostly for educational purposes, but of course it is going to be an advantage for me because I'll be able to put my units exactly where I want them to go. Some guys are like, you should do a whole campaign with the RTS mod. Nah, I don't think so, friends. I'm sorry. I love the first person or the third person right over the shoulder view of Bannerlord, and I just can't imagine having the same passion, flying over in a helicopter, being like, oh, there's troops dying over there, and that guy got killed. Oh, we lost that battle. That's how it would feel to me. There's nothing like being in the trenches with your guys, right? So even here, I'm going to ride around a horse, but we're going to set these formations up beforehand so that you can see what I'm doing. Now, I still have to rush these units to where they're going to go, or more accurately, we'll have to place them once I hit ready, but you will at least be able to see what we're doing. And I can slow it down a little bit, explain the thought process, and give you an idea of what we're doing here. It still may not work. The enemy's close. It seemed like they were about 300 yards away. It would be better if they were 5 or 6. Now, on this right side, it's got the most cover there. There's like hills and then a ruffled edge to the hills where the enemy sort of has to come over it. And so what we're going to do is put lots of archers and horse archers over there because those guys have protection from gunners, and as the enemy gets past that hill, in other words, closer towards us, they're visible to all of those guys, right? We can actually put one archer division on one of the hills and one on the other one. That way the cavalry can't attack both, right? The enemy cavalry will have to choose one of those divisions to attack because there's a valley between them. On the far left is the 4th Division, 3 squares kind of spread out, basically 1 square for each one of these sides, right? In case they get zerged by infantry or cavalry, you have some ability to protect them, charge with that infantry, or distract with the square. And then at the back here, I mentioned it, a huge 5th Division full of our best archers and gunners. And that is probably the units, you know, you never know which division does the most damage, but it's probably going to be that 5th Division. Those guys will be shooting early and protected for most of the battle. Now, let's see, how do we do this? I'm going to run still and get a horse. I got addicted to it. This is some psychedelic colored flowers and grasses here. As a gardener, I want to like take some cuttings here and put it in my garden. It's like pink orange colored grasses. And I'm pretty sure nothing like that, quite that vibrant, exists. But good for the modders for making it beautiful. All right, so squaring all these divisions of infantry just automatically. This many units against you, these guys charge and they die instantly. So we're going to get a horse here. These guys, they're probably just barely in line of sight here, right? So we can move these guys back a bit. But before we do that, I'm going to steal myself a horse. Thank you very much, miss. And yeah, we are getting hit here at the very top of these horses. I'm just going to get these archers pulled down in the valley. It's one more division that can protect these other divisions. There's nothing quite as powerful in Bannerlord as archers that have each other covered, right? The enemy attacks one of your archer divisions, someone else is smoking them. All right, so let's pull the third up. Just like the first battle here, we're going to wave these infantry divisions back and forth in front of the enemy, right? All you're doing here is basically a titty dance for the AI. It becomes mystified, and then it starts putting $100 bills in our pants, and we get victory, right? That's the idea. Now, the 4th Division is set up quicker this time, right? We've got a much better, much faster setup, and of course, that's courtesy of that RTS mod. This looks good. This looks like a battle we can win now. This square over here is not doing anything, but just leave it there, right? You got these squares, or move it a little bit, but don't charge, right? The temptation from a lot of players, I just got infantry standing there, I need to charge. Absolutely not. The enemy has a huge amount of troops. They have a bunch of gunners. Your infantry is going to charge over that hill and get smoked. Just let them come to you, right? There's something about Bannerlord that inspires a little bit of chaos and panic in some people, and probably me, 10,000 hours ago. If you can just take a deep breath and just sort of try to observe what's going on around you, don't be too eager to move units when you have a good plan. Holy shit, we got smoked in the head again. But I already think victory is likely now, right? We've got the enemy infantry chasing after our squares. I've got a nice little samurai here to add to the fray. The archers are really in good position here, and we'll see if we can finish the deal. The key is that 5th Corps. Man, they are raking. I hear the guns going off from here. The arrows are whizzing by me. Now, the enemy has a lot of archers here, and I'm so close to death. He did 3 damage with that swing on that horse, so this guy's got horrific weapon skill. I think they just routed. Another volley by the 5th Corps here. They're either reforming or they routed. And we fucking won this battle. This is a battle, man. So, some guys say they love that shit. You guys, of course, are welcome to leave feedback. We lose sometimes, of course, right? Even with all our experience, Bannerlord is hard, and we're obviously making these challenges brutal. If you guys want to see more of this, where we fail a really difficult challenge, and then retry the exact same battle, sort of see what we can learn, come back, and then try to make adjustments, I'm more than happy to do that. Just leave that kind of feedback in the comments, right? Some guys are probably aggravated. You just showed me that battle, but I have gotten some positive feedback, right? So we'll do this from time to time if I don't get feedback. But that's exhilarating, right? That's definitely a battle that felt like we had no chance to win. A little help with the RTS mod at the beginning there. And I guess the town is ours, right? We get to go have some sake. We're going to have some amazing sushi. The fish have probably only been on that table for a week. It's 85 degrees. We're going to have some diarrhea tonight, but then you just get more sake and everything is fine. This map is beautiful. The whole Shokuho mod in general is beautiful, and I hope you continue to ride along with us as we explore all the different ins and outs. Of course, we're going to do tactics, so you want to subscribe if you want to see more, if you want to get better at Bannerlord. This is the place. Now, I ask you please to hit that like button on the way out. And you know how it goes, friends. With all that said, I will see you fellas and ladies next time.